Good morning, everybody, or good day, good afternoon. It's Kimberly Sheridan from Losing It with Kimberly. Hope you're having a good day so far. I am doing pretty well. Got about 7 hours of sleep broken up into 2 chunks. And I can't say that it's enough sleep per se until I make it till the end of the day and didn't get tired or exhausted. But it's the amount of sleep that would keep me from being able to go back to sleep again. And I know we've all done that, where you lay in the bed and you think, well, I'd really rather get more sleep. So you lay there and you lay there and you lay there and you never go back to sleep, and then you've just wasted all that time. And I say wasted. If you're relaxing, that's chill, that's cool, do that. But for me, in the morning time at least, I'm usually laying there thinking, I'd like to go back to sleep, or I'd like to get up, one or the other. Not I'd like to lay here for an hour and just do nothing. So 7 hours, feeling pretty good. Going at my 3.0 miles per hour as I have been for the last few days, and that's going well. Yesterday, I mentioned that I would tell you about my son, and I'll just briefly touch on it. This is one of those things that, again, when you're younger and you have fewer responsibilities, you just say, hey, I want to get in shape, I want to lose some weight, whatever your goal is. You set your plan into place and you implement your plan and you get the result. And that's if you were lucky enough to have a healthy body that worked the way it was biologically designed to. So if that was the case, then, and you had no responsibilities, or few, then you could do that, right? It was just a smooth line. This is what I want. This is what I'm going to do to get it. And then you get it. Or, you make a couple missteps along the way, but ultimately you're able to get it. Pretty clean cause and effect. Well, as you add on more responsibilities and more people in your life, there are more opportunities for things to throw a wrench into the works. So my son made a mistake in regard to his college and his housing, and I had been involved in part of the process to make sure it was implemented correctly, and that part was implemented correctly, but it turns out that we ended up shooting ourselves in the foot because with the action that we took, because he had misread the original email and instructions about which classes would be online, which classes wouldn't be online, etc. And he's a game design major, and so I thought that when he said all of his classes would be online, that would be, realistic, right, for all his classes to be online. And so we made some choices and took some actions that I say we can't take back. We might end up being able to, but in any case, it threw me for a loop. It's going to potentially take more time out of my life every single week to get him to his college, and made me want to burst into tears, quite honestly. and strangely also, it made me want to get nauseous, and that doesn't usually happen to me because my issues are typically with my head, not my stomach. So I have, various headaches, but I don't have stomach things typically. But this one just pulled the rug out from under me. And I certainly wouldn't feel that way if I hadn't been through the past decade of other things. But it's one of those things where, I don't know if you played the childhood game Chutes and Ladders, but Chutes and Ladders was a board game. And if you landed on a certain spot on the board, you would be at a ladder and you can climb up, which enabled you to skip a lot of the spaces on the board in order to get closer to the end space, which is when you win. And if you landed where there was a chute, which was like a slide, you'd slide down and miss a bunch of spaces and have to go way back, not necessarily to the beginning, but way back, and miss like 10 spaces or whatever that you had already progressed through. So that's sort of what life has felt like, and landing on more, I was going to say landing on more chutes than ladders, and I almost want to say 0 ladders, but I'll throw some things in there and say we've had a couple ladders. I don't know what they are right now, but I'm sure I've had some ladders. Anyway, yesterday, or the day it happened, I guess it was the night before that, felt very much like a shoot. And, I wanted to burst into tears. He wasn't here with me as his dad, so he sent it to me in a message on Discord, which is like Skype or another messaging platform that gamers use, or more tech people use. So he sent it to me in a message, and I just couldn't reply for a little while because I was very upset by it. However, I processed it, and I did talk with him about it. I didn't want to be hurtful, but I did talk with him about it when the kids came back to my house yesterday, because the truth was, I didn't tell him it made me want to cry or burst into tears or throw up, but I did just want to talk it out, because he made a human mistake. He is ADD. He does need to be medicated, and he had been, but he just didn't feel like the medicine, the type he's on, and the dosage was serving him anymore. He's been on the same thing for since he was maybe 7, when they would first medicate ADD. I can't remember. Maybe it was later than that. I think they don't diagnose ADD until 5 to 7 because they want to make sure that kids are out of the phase of life where almost all kids might exhibit some of these behaviors or some of the symptoms. In any case, we talked it out, and all's well in terms of us. And it is, I hate this, I know so many people hate this saying, but it is what it is. I just have to accept it. It just happened already, so nothing I can do about it but accept it. And we took some actions. We'll see what happens with that. We got to wait out some other things that aren't within our control to take actions on, and we'll see what happens. But it could take some more chunks out of my life, chunks of time I truly can't afford to give up. However, all that said, I will not be giving up on my treadmill. This has been, I don't know how this could be viewed as a ladder per se, but a window of opportunity did open recently for me to begin this lifestyle change, and I am grateful for that, and I've taken advantage of that. It's given me a little bit more of a chunk of time, and I've taken it and I've put this lifestyle change into it. As you know, I'm doubling up using my computer at my treadmill, so it's not taking a chunk of time I wouldn't otherwise have spent at my computer anyway. So, making change incrementally. This is not one of those programs where you're going to hear me say, that I've lost 30 pounds in a month. I probably, I was going to say I'd be lucky to lose 30 pounds in a year, but I think best case scenario, I could lose 52 pounds in a year. But I'm not going to do that because, I don't know. We'll see. Number one, I probably don't want to lose 52 pounds, but number two, I don't think that I'm going to steadily lose a pound a week, no matter what I do. I could be wrong about that. Maybe things are different now that I'm not under the massive stress. I'm just under the middle stress levels in life. My body is definitely not what it was when I was under massive stress. There's a lot of physical things that manifested then that are not here now, such as the exhaustion, and the muscle aches every day. I know it's not since last July is the last time, not the last time I remember having muscle aches from the inside out, kind of aches in my legs, but the last time I remember at least thinking, oh my gosh, I could not share a queen size bed with someone because I just need to move my legs and, stretch my legs and get in different positions. And, just in so much pain, I just needed to, reposition all the time and stretch and move. And it didn't really take the pain away, but I don't know. It just felt like I wouldn't be able to share a space with another human. And I'm not sure, I remember feeling that, and that's been, that's been many, many months. So that's good news, right? Anyway, I do empathize with people with autoimmune diseases. I've never been diagnosed since I haven't been to an integrative doctor for that. The only doctor I went to, as I mentioned before, was the one when I feared I'd actually had a heart attack. And, she was a primary care physician. She did an EKG on me and didn't see any indicators, which they say they might be able to see indicators on the chart, whether you actually had suffered a heart attack. And she didn't see any, but I did not like her at all. She didn't have any bedside manner. She definitely seemed to be a very logical, rational, by-the-book kind of doctor, so I didn't see that she would be a person that would be able to help me with looking at all my myriad symptoms and figure out what was going on with my body. So I really, as I mentioned before, think that it takes a lot of time to find the right doctor, to track all of your symptoms, to get all of the tests that they want to do to see what's going on in your body, to get the results of those tests back, to try different medications or different eliminations from your diet, or whatever you're going to do. All that takes time and energy and mental space to accomplish. And I do hope to get there this year. There's obviously health implications from having autoimmune disorders. There's weight implications. As I mentioned, my hair falls out like crazy around that same time. I'm trying to think of when the hair exodus happened. A lot of times hair has a delayed reaction to falling out. So if you suffered a traumatic event, in March, let's say, you might not see the hair fall out until May. And that traumatic event could be a surgery. It could be a stressful event, in your life. It could be all sorts of things that makes hair fall out. And right now I don't remember the name of the specific name for this, but there are two different types of hair loss. Well, actually, I think there's more than two different types, but two differentiations both of which I've experienced are the increase in hair loss that is consistent over a period of time, and just the mass exodus of hair, and around the same time that I was experiencing such muscle aches in my body that I didn't think I could share a bed with someone even in the future. I was just thinking, okay, I guess I'll be single the rest of my life, or sleep in different beds, because I can't, I need all of this space, and not even like to be comfortable, but just like I don't even know how to explain it. Like I think I would have gone crazy if I hadn't been able to keep moving my body. I don't know how to explain it, but in any case, around that same time, I lost about half of my hair, literally half, not even exaggerating. Like it was just falling out in massive amounts over a very short period of time. And I'd already been losing hair, but it wasn't the mass exodus. I think the other times I had experienced that, after childbirth, both times, I had a major hair loss. I don't remember, though, if it was like the mass exodus. Ultimately, I lost about half of my hair during both of those times, including all over and the male sections in the front, to the right and left of your forehead. But I don't know if that happened in a mass thing or if it was just a consistent major hair loss. Anyway, hair loss, pain, there's so many things that could be attributable to hormones, could be attributable to, adrenal fatigue, could be attributable to autoimmune disorders, all sorts of things. So, nutrition deficiencies can cause hair loss. Single stressful events can cause hair loss. all sorts of things, or multiple stressful things happening at the same time, creating a major stressful time in your life. But for those of you who have experienced hair loss, you will join me in thinking that it's terrible. I mean, it's vanity, I guess. If we set aside and said, hey, if you set aside any concern about physical health issues and you just thought about your hair, you could say it's vanity. I mean, I definitely remember when I got divorced when I was headed toward divorce. Let's see. Let me think about the timing of this. Basically, after my husband and I had split up and I was dating, I remember specifically saying to this particular guy that I was dating, are you still going to like me if I'm bald? So I know that sort of in my head marks the time in 2008 when I was losing a lot of hair. And that, again, I was 40. So that, again, was a very stressful time. Not only at that time was I getting divorced, but also the recession had hit, and the business that we were in was, I should say that we co-owned, but I was the one in it. My ex had already gotten a different job, so he was fine with the salary and benefits plan, but my whole income was coming from this business that was going down the tubes quickly and forevermore. So, major stressful event, and I was losing hair then too. So, I think it's scary to have conditions that you can't control in your body, and not knowing all the implications that are taking place inside, and also not being able to take corrective actions on them. I guess the best corrective action, really would be to go to the doctor and get all sorts of tests done. But again, at that point, I had to be at that business all day long. I had to I guess. Well, I didn't fire her. It wasn't her performance. So I guess lay off our only employee. And then I had kids that were 4 and 6 years old. So it's just, I had 2 places to be. I had to be at home with them. I had to be at work. Bing, 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 bing. That was it. So I really wasn't able to prioritize the doctor then either. I'm really starting to value having local family. My family always, I lived in my hometown for, a year and a half after I got out of college because I had a job there. And then I got the transfer to another state with that same company. And besides that, I've never lived in the same hometown as my family. I relocated back to the East Coast to be within easy driving distance of them, but not easy like they could actually be here to help with my day-to-day life. Where we live, the drive is between 2.5 and 4 hours depending upon traffic, so it's not that it's that far away miles wise, but it's far enough away that they can't be of help when you hit the wall in your life. So I really do consider, for my children, it's so common these days for kids to go to college and get a job anywhere in the country. So I really do consider the value of having them, land somewhere close to me. But I also consider for myself, I might move, not far away. I really love the general area of the country that I live in, but I might move within my state or within a couple of states away. So ultimately I hope that I'm there to be able to help them when they hit hard times, because it's very meaningful. So if you have local family that helps you out sometimes, give them an extra hug today. It's very meaningful. I definitely had a mom who wanted to help me out and visited as much as she could and did help me out when she visited. My mom was a rock star in terms of just pitching in and getting things done. I think it came from growing up, in a large family of, I guess we could call it a family of 14 with her parents and 12 kids, and being poor, just you do the work that needs to happen, So anyway, get back to exercise talk. So yesterday, can't remember now what it was. Let's just say it was day 3-ish of being at 3 miles per hour. The problem is I really do get sweaty. I mean, not like dripping sweat, but, the top of my forehead gets sweaty, and not just glistening like it was at 2.5 miles per hour, but, the hairline gets sweaty. I get sweaty under my arms and in my lower back. And again, I did the smell test, and no, I didn't need to take a shower, so that's good. It doesn't add more time, but I realized and I remembered I hate being sweaty. That's why I like doing all of my exercise in a chunk. So I mentioned some people, it works for them to break up exercise and just do 5 minutes of exercise on the hour for however many times they want to repeat that during the day. But if you repeat it 6 times, you got 30 minutes of exercise. If you repeat it 12 times, you get an hour of exercise. And for some people, it works really well because they feel like, well, great, I got my exercise in. That was, 5 minutes every hour. And, they say that we should move 5 minutes every hour anyway, not remain sedentary. And honestly, on even a standing desk, they say that you shouldn't stand there without moving, 5 minutes every hour, because you're still in one position. So, what we're seeking is blood flow. That's the problem with one of the problems with sitting, for long periods of time. It's just being in one position that gives your body the opportunity to form clots or whatever. I haven't read a particular article that said that you can get blood clots from being in a standing desk, but you could, because you're not getting blood flow if you're staying in the same position. You're not getting as much blood flow if you're staying in the same position. In any case, I realized I don't like that. I do like my exercise to be in a chunk of time, but I also realized one of the reasons is I don't like being sweaty. So I'm fine if I go to the gym and I sweat, but I want to get in the shower as soon as I get home. So if I'm going to reach that much sweat, on these daily treadmill walks, which I didn't reach that much, but if I'm going to, like once I start increasing my speed higher than 3.0, or once I add an incline, or whatever, I'm going to have to rethink how I do things. I don't think I'm going to change it so much that I can't keep doing the hour of treadmill, because this is working for me, and I want to keep this up. And again, I'm not sure that I'm ever going to want to go back to running, especially at a home treadmill. And honestly, how when you're as you get older, you can tweak something. I tweaked my shoulder yesterday just for reaching for something. You can tweak your side or your back just by reaching for something or bending down for one thing, not even a heavy thing. Most of us know, okay, if you're picking up something heavy, bend from your knees, don't bend from your back. Even if you're just bending down to pick up a crumb off the kitchen floor, you can go tweak, So I'm not sure that it's a smart idea even for me to try to get back into running. It's not that I couldn't. I certainly could hire somebody who is a kinesiologist or somebody who's a specialist in assessing, or I guess I could, physical therapist, a personal trainer who, when I did personal training, it was more to help people lose weight and to get in general good fitness shape. I helped one woman train for her police physical exam. However, she was 25. She was a generally healthy, not overweight 25-year-old. She wasn't in great physical shape in terms of cardiovascularly or even strength, and that's what we were working on so that she could pass this minimal guideline for to continue. I'm trying to remember if she was in the police academy or if she was already a police officer and had to repass this test. I can't remember now, but in any case, the majority of the people I worked with were generally healthy and under 40. except for, as I mentioned the other day, a client named Joyce that was a neighbor. Besides that, it's a totally different category than when our bodies start breaking down just from general aging and use, or when somebody's had an injury to a certain part of their body. I was never qualified to do that. I have to tell you that if you have a personal training certification, even from one of these really reputable organizations, I could have put myself out there and worked with anybody. There's no regulation as to what type of person that you can work with, and so you could very easily come across a personal trainer who is working with you when you have physical things that you need to work around, and they're not qualified to do that. Some of them are because of their course of study, but we would all have the same label of certified personal trainer. So let's say always be very careful with who you choose as a personal trainer. I wouldn't have taken someone like that on. I think I would not want to hurt somebody, but not everybody either has that level of integrity or understands the implications of what damage they could cause to someone if they don't understand their condition and their limitations and their injuries and their just the general state of various parts of their body. In any case, getting back to what I'm working on, I did my lunges yesterday. I didn't want to. As I mentioned to you, I realized that I would need to do them after the treadmill because it's not a good idea to do not a good idea to work your muscles without having warmed them up. And generally, our arms, the level of weights that I'm doing with my arms, I don't need a lot of warm up. I'm just around the house moving my arms, getting my ice from my iced coffee, pouring that. My arms have already moved a bit. I mean, my legs have walked also, but they haven't done lunges. So I decided it would be a better idea if I warmed up my legs before I did the lunges. So I did them after the treadmill, and I held a 12-pound medicine ball over my head. The reason for that is if you are holding another weight, you're increasing the amount of weight that you're asking your legs to move. So if I'm not holding anything, every time I lunge out and then lunge back, I'm moving my body weight. But if I've added a 12-pound medicine ball, I'm adding 12 pounds to the amount of weight that I need to move. And I like to hold it over my head because it opens up my chest. It opens up my lungs, makes sure I am standing up straight, right, and not crunched over. So you certainly don't need to hold anything if you're doing lunges, and you can, if you do choose to hold something, you don't have to choose to hold it over your head. You can hold dumbbells at your side. You could hold a medicine ball just at your front, like right in front of your chest, right in front of where your heart is. You can do what I did and hold it over your head. Ultimately, I'll probably hold it at my chest level and do a twist, like especially with a walking lunge. It's great to, which I'm not doing in my home because I don't have the length of space to do that in. But with a walking lunge, it's great to, take your step forward, do your lunge, and then while you're still down in the lunge, if you have a medicine ball right in front of you at chest, between chest and abdomen level, you do a twist to one side, and that works your obliques, which are your side ab muscles on each side. You have obliques, and then you twist to one side, you twist back, and then you step forward into your next lunge. I like doing that. It's just an extra level of work that I'm not going to take on quite yet. And like I said, I'm not doing walking lunges. I could do that also with regular lunges, but quite honestly, I don't think my body's ready to. Yesterday wasn't easy. It was possible. Again, even with this exercise, I did that whole, mental assessment at the 8th rep. and, figured out that this was hard enough for me, but not too easy. And so 8th rep, got around there, I was like, how many more of these do I have? I did have that thought before the 8th rep, but it wasn't so hard that I was like, maybe I'm lifting, too much. Maybe I should put this medicine ball down before the 8th rep. It was just, wow, this hurts. So my legs don't hurt today. I would think they would hurt tomorrow, but, we'll see. I would think they would, because it was hard, but it was only one set. So one set of 12, maybe they won't hurt. Nothing wrong with easing your way, into a full workout. And that's what I'm going to do, even though I used to never do this. I used to always have a full weight workout that was 30 to 45 minutes after I'd done, 30 minutes of cardio. However, times are changing. And it's not just, my lack of time now. It's also just not lack of motivation, because you hear me here every day. It's just lack of desire, I think. We all can get into better shape every day just by doing more than we did before. And we can get into really great shape, staying with low impact instead of the high impact I used to do, and staying with a reasonable workout. You could probably get into really great shape, just on, 20 minutes a day. I want not 20 of cardio, but 20, let's just say I'd say the minimum, maybe 30-minute cardio, and it can just be walking. Just needs to be 30 minutes of movement and 15, 20 minutes of weights. You have to make smart choices about what you're doing during those 15, 20 minutes of weights. Make sure you're hitting every major muscle group. I would probably put in some compound moves in there to make sure that we're using our time wisely. But it's not that it needs to take a ton of time, and the weights don't even need to be done every day. We would do those. You could do them every day and flip-flop your muscle groups on alternate days. You're not repeating the same muscle group 2 consecutive days. But, you could also do compound moves. You could do what's called supersets, which is you do an arm exercise, then immediately do a leg exercise, so there's no rest in between. Then you go back to doing arm exercise and leg exercise, and that way you're not working your arms over and over and over again. Some people like to do arms one day, legs a different day, etc. There's so many ways to do this to create a compact workout that really gives you a big bang for your buck. But at this point, I'm not there. I'm just going to do what I'm going to do. One day I do the combo of bicep curl, shoulder press, 1 set of 12 reps. Next day, I'm doing 1 set of 12 reps of lunges, holding a 12-pound medicine ball. That's all I'm committed to doing, and that's what I'm doing. I committed to it. I'm doing it. That's my goal, 99.999% sticking with the plan. And I just use that number as a way of saying, hey, try to stick with it 100%, but you're also a human, and once in a while you're not going to hit what you set out to do. I'm not saying you have to do the math and come up with exactly 99.999%. I'm just saying it to give you an idea of what we're shooting for. So I think that's it for today. I hope that you're having a great day. I know I am so far. I feel pretty good on the treadmill, and feel pretty good about the exercises I've been doing and that I'm doing. Drank my water yesterday. Staying on track with everything. Not going to add anything new. I just added those lunges, but I'm not going to add anything new, for a handful of days, and really hammer all of these down. Make sure they're all in there and happening consistently. As you know, I messed up on water one day. Got right back on track with that. So you can do that too. Be gentle with yourself. If you fall off your plan, no big deal. Just get right back on. Who cares? We're all in this together, right? So I hope you have a super duper day, and I'm going to talk with you again tomorrow.